Hello, everyone. Welcome to Trenton Today. I'm Joe LeCompte filling in for Chris Irmer today, and it's an honor to be here with Trenton Mayor W. Reed Gusciora. Mayor, it's a pleasure to be here with you to talk
Thanks
about
so
the
much,
issues.
Joe. Yeah, absolutely.
I guess there's a lot to get to. First and foremost, I want to talk about the obvious thing that cities like Trenton, Philadelphia, dealing with the heat, and it's going to be hot today.
Yep.
So, how has it affected Trenton over the last week and city services and such?
Well, we've had a couple of power outages, which is not helpful, especially for the seniors staying at home and air conditioning needs, cooling needs. We have a couple of cooling stations, both at in the the West Ward, I'm sorry, at Jenny Stubblefield Senior Center and San Naples Senior Center on Chestnut Avenue in the East Ward. We also have 5 swimming pools that get a lot of occupation, and we have senior hours at the pools from 8:30 to 10:30 in the morning. No kids, so the seniors seem to be loving to have that first 2 hours to themselves. But they should take advantage of our cooling stations. Our libraries also provide cooling relief, but we hope that the heat wave will be ending soon, and that we can go to the normalcy of summer weather.
Right, 90 degrees, a nice cool 90 degrees. A lot of these stations, I guess it's a morning to early evening hours, something like that.
Yeah, and our pools are open till 10 o'clock. The cooling stations, I believe, are open through 7.
Okay. Yeah, that's really something that the seniors should take advantage of if they can. I know over the years you hear like these fan giveaways. Does Trenton do one of those?
We don't. We rely on donations. So when we get donations, if we got donations of fans, we certainly would give them out. But people should stay tuned, and I can look into that to see if we can find any good Samaritans out there that would like to donate fans for seniors.
It seems the heat has, it's when you're in the moment, you think it's never been this hot. But I'm surprised over the years that a small air conditioning giveaway hasn't happened. I know it's a little more expensive, but
The problem with the capital city is we're cash strapped, and that's a luxury that we just can't afford. But it would be really nice to be able to provide something like that.
Right. Has there been any cases of people becoming severely ill over the heat that you've heard of?
Not directly reported to me. I do know that our Kingsbury Towers, the air conditioning conked out, and we provided some relief and alternatives and temporary quarters for the folks that were living in the towers. But that seems to be fixed this time around. We remain vigilant, and if the power does go out, please notify us so that we can notify the appropriate agencies.
Very good. Moving on to our next issue, I saw that on the website that the third quarter municipal tax bills, you've extended that for folks.
Yes, till August 15th. By state law, council is supposed to adopt a budget by April 29th. They have not done that, unfortunately. They're still holding hearings. They were slow to start. We provided a budget to them in March, but they've been reluctant to really hunker down and get the budget out. I know that there are a couple of state agencies that are watching and are most concerned that council needs to get this done. They originally voted not for us to make debt payments. I had to issue an executive order to keep the lights on and to make our debt payments for bonds and other debt service that we needed to fulfill.
Have you been through this before with council where it's extended to this long? Where I guess it's $227 million, right?
Well, the reason why we used to be on a fiscal year, so we used to be July 1st to July 1st. We switched over to the calendar year. The state helped us out. That was a monumental undertaking. And the whole purpose of going on a calendar year was there would be some certainty that the budget would be done by the beginning of the year. And unfortunately, that has not been the case.
Are you sensing any movement in the next week or so?
Unfortunately, we're getting a notification from DEP that they need to make utility payments and to make sure that the lights are on at the water treatment plant. State agencies are watching us, but council really needs to get together and tackle the issues and make sure that the budget is passed. And the budget that we proposed has no tax increases. No local tax levy will be increased. So it's an easy task for them. Basically, it's a flat budget from last year. It's not like they don't know what is in it. We just hope that they would just cooperate and pass the budget.
Absolutely. I guess for some families, for some individuals, this may be a little bit of relief. They don't have to pay until August 15th, right?
Yeah, and technically we should be shutting our doors because we don't have a budget after July 1st, but I issued an executive order to, so there wouldn't be any layoffs or cuts in services.
And with regard to the municipal tax bills, is there any programs that help people with their property taxes?
Well, we'd like to know if you're having problem paying your property taxes, but a lot of that is by state law of what we can and cannot do. So we're able to give some kind of deferment till August 15th, so that should provide people with some relief.
And I guess does the city have a situation set up where you can pay a little at a time throughout the whole year?
No, unfortunately, then you would get in a tax lien situation, but we understand that times are tough, and then we're dealing with the pandemic. A lot of people are out of work, and we try to assist the resident as best we can.
Absolutely. With regard to the American Rescue Plan Act of 2019, how is Trenton doing with that? Are you going to be getting funds? I hear a lot of municipalities and townships across the whole region that are waiting for these funds to come. Is Trenton getting some?
We received $70 million. One of the things that is spending, we have a lot of plans for the ARP. We actually put in an offer to give residents a tax rebate with utilizing some of the ARP funds, but unfortunately council was opposed to that. But we're trying to work on structural long-term projects that will help reduce taxes in the long run. We're doing improvements to our water system and trying to pave roads and do other things that will deal with infrastructure issues.
What's the highest cost for Trenton?
Highest cost still would be police and fire and pensions and health care. But in order to have an orderly society and one that works, you need the public safety taken care of. We're ordering police cars. We're actually going to have a police academy of 30 new recruits. We're applying for a federal COPS grant to get more policing. And I know that a lot of the public is soured on policing in general, but we've already defunded the police back in 2011, and it didn't work out too well. So I think at the end of the day, people want safe neighborhoods, safe streets, and we're going to need to have police out on patrols.
Absolutely. The last time I worked in Wilmington for years, Wilmington, Delaware, and back then to just dress a police officer, with everything they need, the uniform and the gun and everything. Now it was into the salary. It was into like the upper 70s.
Yeah,
it's a lot of money.
Yes.
And that's why it's good to have that federal support.
Yeah, and I mean we've had an uptick in crime just as other cities in America across the country. And we have, unfortunately, a lot of guns flooding into New Jersey from Pennsylvania and other lax states. So we have to take care of the bad guys and make sure that citizens feel safe in their communities and can walk to their cars and walk their neighborhoods.
the summer so far, how would you assess it in terms of safety? It appears to me that things have been quiet for a good stretch. Does that have anything to do with your street teams?
Yes, we actually have a couple of street teams that are out there. We mirrored the successful program in Newark, where we send about 40 counselors at a clip out to talk to residents, talk to potential gang members, talk to youth that are out there, and try to provide them a more humane guidance rather than the law enforcement angle. They include ex-offenders, returning citizens. They include counselors, mental health counselors, and we just hope that the street teams will have an impact over the long term. But we are seeing a quieter summer so far, but we have to remain vigilant. There could be an uptick in crime at any moment.
Right. I guess these street teams are trying to talk to people about conflict resolution and maybe don't hold a grudge, stuff like that. Is that what their tact is?
Yes, and I've gone on a couple of walks with them, and it's pretty interesting, just their engagement in the community and people coming out of their doors to talk to them. So we hope in the long run that as word gets out that there are street teams out there, that young folks particularly will take advantage of them and just be able to talk to somebody else on a human one-on-one relationship is a lot better than having someone call the police on them.
Right. I know in a previous episode of Trenton Today, Chris had talked to you about gun buybacks, and you didn't seem to warm to that too much before, and for a reason.
Well, only because we do get guns. We do get bad guns out there, but the other problem is we get people are handing in their guns from their attics, ones that they wouldn't rob a bank with, and they would get the same value as if somebody turned in an automatic weapon. And then the other danger that we hear is sometimes people hand in their automatic weapon and then upgrade to a better one. So it has mixed reviews. I am still in favor of gun buybacks because at the end of the day, you're getting some of the guns off the streets.
And typically, what will the city pay someone for a gun?
I believe it's up to $500 if it's a AR-15, and lesser if it's the toys in the attic.
Right. Yeah, it's costly, but is that federally funded gun?
Yes, and that's the other thing that it's dependent on getting either prosecutors' involvement, state funding, forfeiture funds, and the like.
Right. I guess when you're governing, you're constantly seeing what can we keep in our own coffers for, things that bills that need to be paid, things that need to be carried out. So it's good to get these federal and I guess state funds as well.
Absolutely. And one of the things that we're confiscating are vehicles involved in illegal dumping, and one of the continuing quality of life issues for the city are folks going out rather than taking particularly contractor materials, they'll find a dimly lit alley and dump the materials there. It doesn't make good for the quality of life for residents, and if we catch people, we'll confiscate their vehicle. So we've sent out a couple of messages out. Absolutely.
Is there a number that people can call if they see someone dumping illegally? Do you just call 911, or do you?
You can call 911, and so we can have a quick police response, but there are police protocols to not only issue summonses, but to confiscate the vehicle.
Very good. Okay, we're with Trenton Mayor W. Reed Gusciora. This is Trenton Today, and we'll be back in a few moments.
Capital Health's primary care network continues to grow, bringing its extensive option of locations to your neighborhood. Whether you're scheduling a wellness checkup or not feeling well, advanced medicine starts with a Capital Health primary care doctor at locations near you in Mercer, Bucks, and Burlington counties. To find a Capital Health primary care location that's convenient for you, visit capitalmedicalgroup.org. That's capitalmedicalgroup.org. trentontn.org. WBCB is now on your FM dial at 107.3. Serving Bucks, Burlington, and Mercer counties since 1958, you can now listen to all of your BCB favorites crystal clear on 107.3 FM. A new age for WBCB on a new frequency, 107.3. The Salvation Army of Greater Trenton and Mercer County is looking for volunteers to help give back to the community. From advisory board members to volunteering with one of their many programs, like their mobile feeding programs. Volunteers are critical partners in helping the Salvation Army fulfill their promise of doing the most good. For more information on how you can help the Salvation Army of Greater Trenton, call their offices at 609-599-9373. That's 609-599-9373. Or visit their website at salvationarmynj.org or Facebook page at Salvation Army Trenton Citadel.
Hi, this is Mayor Jeff Martin of Hamilton Township, inviting you to tune in to our monthly radio show, This Month in Hamilton. Video streamed live the fourth Tuesday of every month at 10 a.m. at WBCB1490.com. We will be featuring various guests from Hamilton Township to keep you up to date on what's going on in Hamilton.
Opinions matter, and so does yours. Hi, I'm Joe Fabrizi, inviting you to join us every Monday at 1 p.m. for Opinions Matter, right here on 1490 AM WBCB. Opinions Matter is now live streamed at WBCB1490.com. We want to hear from you because your opinion does matter.
From City Hall here in Trenton, this is Trenton Today with Trenton Mayor W. Reed Gusciora. And Mayor, we were talking about dumping in the city, illegal dumping. There is a number that folks can call if they see someone doing this.
Yeah, I would encourage them still to call 911 if somebody is actively engaged in illegal dumping. If it's after the fact, they should call our non-emergency number, 609-989-4170. Because police will be able to look at cameras and gather statements after the fact. But if somebody sees somebody actively engaging in illegal dumping, they should call the police 911.
And that's certainly, a serious punishment. The car gets confiscated.
That is the only thing that sends the message, because if you get a $200 fine, you can get up to a $2,000 fine, but courts don't like to assess maximum penalties unless they have to, unless there's repeated offenders. But usually an illegal dumper gets caught once, and they'll hopefully stop.
What are they typically dumping?
A lot of construction debris, stuff that roofing materials, cinder blocks, things that they can't throw out in the normal course of a garbage collection. Sometimes landlords will clear out apartment buildings that they've newly purchased, and then they'll just gather it somewhere and try to get rid of it.
Absolutely. The water department. How is the city's water department doing these days?
Well, we have a couple of issues. There was a midge breakout, and that's because we have a reservoir. We collect most of our water and we put it in a reservoir on Pennington Avenue. It's 100 years old. It contains water storage until it's distributed out to 5 municipalities, including Trenton. But because of global warming issues, more algae is in the reservoir, and there is an insect called midges that have been found in there. We are treating the water to make sure that that's taken care of. But the good thing is we're working with a new engineering firm that moved to Trenton, Princeton Hydro, and they are water engineers, and they moved into Roebling Block 3, and they were helped with a business incentive loan that we provided them. But they're working with us to control the midges, and so that's great that we can use a local business that has moved into Trenton. They're also helping us look at the pond in Cadwallader Park that they want to do as a benefit just to the city for no cost. It seems to be a dead pond that we'd want to bring back to life. That Cadwallader Park was the park that was designed by Frederick Olmsted, designer of Central Park in New York. So it's a fabulous park, but we need to take care of our resources, particularly our water resources.
Absolutely. You mentioned climate change. You have people on both sides of that argument. But in speaking with, I believe it's Michael Kolber, is it? He's with your planning commission.
Yes.
You recently had a virtual meeting with citizens about climate change, and it was heartening that he said a good number showed up on the virtual and to talk about it. And I asked him, well, what's the main thing that really is affecting a city like Trenton when it comes to climate change? And he said flooding.
Yeah, we've had a number of floods, particularly on Mulberry, and what we're really concerned about is the island neighborhood that is off 29. They call it the island because it's separated between the island, the highway, and the Delaware River. That has been near flooded, but the river is normally at 11 feet. It has gone up in the last couple of years up to as much as 22 feet, which is just right at the edge. And so we've whistled past disaster, but if it went up any further, it would flood the island and cause a lot of damage. But that is a big concern, and making sure that the Delaware remains healthy, but that it doesn't reach flooding stages.
Have you noticed that you thought, hey, this is definitely climate change, just with different things like that and other things?
Yeah, and anecdotally in our own lives. I remember when I was growing up, maybe 8 days in August were horrible, and but you couldn't go to the beach before the end of June. Now people are going to the beach in April and May. So I there is global warming. I believe it's a largely man-made factor, but even if you don't believe in global warming, pollution has a lot to do with it, and I think that we should work on electronic vehicles, solar and wind as alternatives to gas. So we're also doing our part. We're going to have a autonomous car demonstration when the technology is perfected, but we got a federal grant to implement 100 autonomous cars and put in a fleet to help take folks to pharmacies and shopping and those that are challenged for transportation needs.
Is that with the company Isles?
No, they're doing other stuff on lead remediation. They're also doing the street teams, but Isles has been very helpful with us on. I think they're helping us with other
Electric vehicles?
Electric vehicles, yes.
Right.
Yeah, charging stations that we need to put in.
Right. I mean, that's one thing we're going to lead in. If we all change over to electric cars, they're going to need a lot of those stations. Is there any thought of at some point getting more of the city's vehicles, whether it's police cars or other city service vehicles?
Yeah, as we go forward, there's been proposals to make at least certainly the meter readers vehicles electric, but we need that infrastructure, the charging stations and the like put in, and that's what we're looking to do, and that's with Isles. Right.
It's the cost again. The cost is something that a lot of people think of. I don't know if someone wanted to buy an electric vehicle, maybe it would be $50,000 or $60,000. That's a lot of money.
Yeah, I think the price will come down, just as anything after it's largely manufactured. I'm sure when you were at the gas station this last weekend, you probably thought maybe an electric vehicle would be a blessing, but the cost is preventative for me from buying an electronic vehicle, but yet I certainly would if the price came down.
I saw a demonstration of an electric vehicle. This guy, when I worked previously up in Montgomery County at a radio station, and he got on his phone and started the car and backed it up and turned it around.
Wow.
with his phone.
Yeah.
So
that's fantastic, and that's I rode in the demonstration model for autonomous vehicle, and it was really interesting how it pulled to the side to pick up a passenger in theory, got back into traffic, turned around, saw a policeman in the street and stopped. It was interesting.
I don't know, Mary. I still got to have my hands on that wheel.
Well, the autonomous vehicle has 5 eyes. We only have 2, so
Right.
in theory, it's a lot safer.
Right.
In theory.
Now, I just think there's something about driving. you know,
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
the leisure of the driving. You're thinking.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, this would be for somebody who doesn't have transportation needs. These are more or less Uber that would remain in the city, but it would be self-driving. So you'd be in the back seat with a air pillow or something.
Right. Yeah. I mean, if you, I guess you have to put the coordinates in, or it automatically reads that.
Yeah.
It could drive you to whenever it runs out of electricity.
Yeah.
That's kind of an amazing thing, I've heard of cases where things got a little ugly with them,
Yeah.
but that can happen too. But like you said, they got 5 eyes, so.
Yeah. And the demonstration won't be conducted until the technology is there. So this is probably a couple of years in the future. But it's coming, and I believe probably electric vehicles are going to be more prevalent than they are today.
With inflation right now, it's obviously affecting everyone from a city like Trenton to individuals and families. With the city in terms of fuel, has that been a big cost, or you have any locked-in situations?
Yes, we still have to fuel our fire department vehicles, our public works vehicles, sanitation vehicles, our police vehicles. So that is quite costly, and the price has gone up for us.
Can you get a locked-in fee, or are you just like everyone else?
We're like everybody else, but we buy through municipal services, which hopefully is cheaper by the dozen. But because of the cost in fuel going up, it goes up for the city as well.
Right, I guess that's both gasoline and diesel.
Yes.
You have both?
Yeah.
Okay. And right now, that you said the city will be getting some new police cars?
Yes. Yeah, we've taken advantage of grant funding, and so we'll be purchasing, I think, about 20 new vehicles in the near future.
And are they like your traditional squad car and SUV type?
Yes, yeah, traditional squad cars.
And is that purchased through one of the bigs in Motown, or is that?
Yeah, it's purchased through the state. They have a pool to purchase a pool of vehicles that we can purchase them from.
Right, and I guess do you get any kind of a break because you're buying in bulk?
We hope so.
Right.
Yeah.
20 vehicles.
Yeah.
That could be a hefty sum. Does that come right out of the city's bank account, or is it federal?
We take advantage of grant funding, and that's why we've applied, and we're awarded that, and so now we're turning around to purchase vehicles. Does
grant funding usually cover the whole cost, or does the city have to pay a little bit?
Well, for the most part, yes. Yeah, we usually tell the state what we need, and then that's part of the transitional / capital city aid that they give us.
That's certainly a big help, I guess. When you're talking about these vehicles that are running almost sometimes, I guess, 24 hours a day.
Yes, yeah. Just like we just overhauled our communication system. That was quite costly, but there were lapses in the area coverage. But we need communications not only for police but fire, water, public service, and we overhauled the whole communication system, and that was at a cost of $10 million.
Does that include the 911 system?
And that included the 911 system, so they threw that in there. So we took advantage of American Recovery Plan funds.
Again, how much money did the...
70 million.
70 million, I guess. That sounds like a lot of money, but I'm sure it goes fast.
It does go fast, yes.
Yes. All right, you're watching Trenton Today with Trenton Mayor W. Reed Gusciora here, and it's on WBCB's Facebook page, and you can go to WBCB1490.com and find out who we are, what we're about, and you can even find the program on that site as well. We're going to take a break, and we're going to come back with the mayor in just a few moments.
Welcome to the capital of neurosciences at Capitol Health. The human brain and spine are very complex, and treating them requires a hospital that offers a combination of technology and specialists that are united by a single defining purpose, putting you and your family at the center of exceptional care. From brain tumors and spinal disease to strokes and aneurysms, if it involves the brain and spine, there's only one Capitol Institute for Neurosciences, and it's at Capitol Health. To learn more, visit capitalneuro.org. That's capitalneuro.org.
Hey, this is Jonesy. Kick off your Thursday and Friday evenings in style. Join me for an eclectic freeform mix of the hits and beyond. It's a happening, a musical journey. It's the Glenn Jones Radio Experience, right here on 1490 WBCB and 107.3 FM, Thursday and Friday, 5 to 6 p.m., directly following the legendary Jerry Blavitt. Radio, the way it ought to be.
Are you a parrot head? Not that kind. That's more like it. If you're this kind of parrot head, don't forget to check out the Denny O Polka Show every Saturday from 9 a.m. to noon right here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com.
WBCB is now on your FM dial at 107.3. Serving Bucks, Burlington, and Mercer counties since 1958, you can now listen to all of your BCB favorites crystal clear on 107.3 FM. A new age for WBCB on a new frequency, 107.3.
From City Hall here in Trenton, this is Trenton Today on WBCB's Facebook page, along with Mayor W. Reed Gusciora, and we were talking about a lot of things today we covered. There's something interesting coming up Tuesday night. That's National Night Out.
Yes. We have 60 neighborhoods, and usually the night outs were dispersed through the neighborhoods, but because of the pandemic and lack of police resources particularly, we've decided to have one big national night out at Cadwalader Park. That was well received last year. It was more of a carnival, county fair type atmosphere. Still, there are some neighborhoods that still wanted to continue to have the neighborhood parties. There's a couple of dozen that still are having them as well.
And when it comes to National Night Out, I guess mainly the communities do and cities do a lot of the same things, and that is really to look after each other, watch out for each other, and maybe make a connection with police officers.
Absolutely, and if you go down a street like Race Street, where really the community really comes out for it, and everybody pulls up lawn chairs to the curb and makes it a pedestrian thoroughfare, and the churches. There's a church on Race Street that has a barbecue and a lot of activities for the kids, and it's just a real fun atmosphere. We try to replicate that at Cadwalader Park, but there are still neighborhoods that still want to do their National Night Out. But it's a good opportunity for them to mingle, communicate with the police, and deal with them on a more human level than something that is less desirous.
Essentially, what's going to happen that night? Is there a moon bounce and all that stuff there?
Yes, yeah, and there's kid activities. We also have bands that will perform, and free food. Can't say that enough. And participation by the fire department, police department, EMTs. So it's a good opportunity just to meet your neighbors out and enjoy the city landscape.
And essentially, what time will that be?
It will be anytime after 5. That is a good question. Stay tuned to our postings. I'll get you that answer before the end of the show, but it will be after 5.
Probably run till maybe 8 or 9 or something
yes,
like that?
Well into dark, yeah.
Right. After all, you said the pools are open till 10, right?
Yes,
so
yeah.
Yeah, that's nice. The kids can take a dip in a pool up until 10 o'clock.
Yeah, and we have a world-class pool, particularly in Hetzel pool, which is only about 3 years old. And we jump-started that at the beginning of my administration. Looked like the secret garden, and completely put a real urban landscape design, and our recreation department won an award for design. So we're really happy with how it turned out.
Now, did you get thrown in the pool this year?
I did, unfortunately. The kids are clued in that when I show up, this is the third year, so I'm going to try to break it next year. But they know when I go anywhere near the edge that I get pushed in somehow.
So you were wearing your tie and your shirt and all that?
Yeah.
Now, for kids, that probably looks funny, something out of a movie where
Yes.
an adult's jumping into a pool.
And it's funny because I see sometimes I'll be out and about and somebody will come up to me and he said, "I pushed you in the pool last year," and
Right.
so they have good memories for that, and it's a good way to also intermingle with younger generation and see what's on their mind as well. But we got some great kids and have great vision for the future of Trenton.
Absolutely. I mean, a lot of times the focus goes to bad things, right? But it's nice when you get to point out the skill and the thoughts and the ideas the young people have.
Absolutely, yeah. Right now we're working on a turf field for the high school. When the state built that $150 million project, they didn't touch our field, unfortunately. And now we're going to have a very nice, modern and updated athletic facility, and it will be great for football and soccer games.
And where will that be located?
Right behind the high school. So when BCB is filming the football games, they'll see a nice new turf field this fall.
And that comes at a pretty good cost, I guess, huh?
We bonded $1 million for it, yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that our kids are worth it, and it's a good investment for the athletes, and it's a sense of pride for not only the school but for the city itself.
Now, is that turf down now, or?
It's being placed down right now as we speak. Yeah, I went there the other day, and they were just grading the field, making sure that the irrigation system was working. So they're doing the prep work, but any day now they'll start laying the turf.
Right, when the kids, the players see that, their eyes hit that field, it's going to probably build a lot of excitement.
Yeah. And the other thing is when our athletes go to another school, they'll play on a turf field and then they'll come back. Why can't wait? So
Right.
We have to keep up with our neighbors, but I think our kids deserve it, and I think it makes for a better school spirit.
Absolutely, and with getting back to the street teams, for a long time throughout the region, there was this thing called community policing. Mm-hmm. Is that still kind of in effect in some ways?
Yes, it's having officers get out of their car, walk the beat, so to speak, and make sure that they come into contact with neighbors in the neighborhoods, introduce themselves, so that the neighborhood feels a lot more safe, and that they know who is patrolling their streets, and if they need to flag one of the officers down who's patrolling that area, they'll be a lot more comfortable with giving them information and giving us tips and the like. So it does help when the police directly communicate to the residents.
And as you mentioned, they're human too. They have pets, they have families, they have children that they want to go home to at the end of the night.
Yes.
And then if there's something bad happens and they have communication with the neighbors, it's going to be easier to maybe track down a potential suspect.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. National Night Out, that's going to be Tuesday, right?
Tuesday night, yeah.
August 2nd. So there'll be officers there, and then, as you mentioned, the fire department. And are you just telling families to come out?
Yeah, come out and enjoy the city, and we'll take care of the food and games and music, and so we'll have a lot of fun out there.
How about I've always wondered. I used to come to Trenton a lot, to see a team called the Trenton Titans. And then the Devils, I was like, wow, the Devils moved in. But I said, oh, it's hockey, and it's cost effective. It's really, I'm just wondering, I guess the city doesn't have much aegis over that. It's
a county arena,
Okay.
and even Trenton Thunder is a county arena, but a stadium. But Trenton Thunder is certainly a private industry. They're now looking for a professional team that will call Trenton Stadium their home. Right now we have a college demonstration league. It's a little different than normal competitive league, but nonetheless, people are still coming to see a Trenton Thunder game.
And the Trenton Thunder were successful when they were in the Eastern League.
Absolutely.
They did well,
Yeah.
and it was. I guess, were you shocked when the Yankees pulled out?
Shocked and disappointed. They made a commitment to Thunder, but they wanted to move up to Somerset County, and it wasn't because of attendance, because people loved the Trenton Thunder and came out for a game, and it was a great way for families to come and enjoy that baseball experience. They didn't have to pay the New York subway prices, but nonetheless, they could see a great competitive sport.
Right, you could take four, say a family of four could go there, and it wouldn't be probably over $100.
No.
Whereas I think the latest, at least for like the Phillies, if you wanted to take, mom, dad, two kids, 4 hot dogs, 4 sodas, the tickets, parking, it comes out to about somewhere in the area of $250. That's a lot for a family.
Oh, it is, and so Thunder, we think, is a great bargain. We'd love to see another competitive team come into the arena, and stay tuned on that. I hear every once in a while discussions about further indoor football. Be great to see indoor soccer. So we'll see what we can attract.
Yeah, the first owners of the Trenton, I was at the first Trenton Titans game. And then I would come to games, and during the week there'd be 6,500 people there on a Wednesday night. If every game I came to see in Trenton, I know times change, but I was never, ever bothered when I came into the city. Nobody bothered me. And this team thrived. Then, the Berman family, I believe it was, then sold to the Devils, the New Jersey Devils. This is not really Devil territory. It's still Flyer territory up here. But I'm surprised that they can't get another hockey team in there.
Yeah, it is disappointing, but who knows? We'll see. The other thing is that we used to have some great acts that I saw Bruce Springsteen play at the arena, and I can't really admit it. Britney Spears I saw as well, but that was a friend dragged me there. But not that there's anything wrong with Britney Spears. But they had some great acts there. Cher played there, Elton John played there, and we love to see that music venue really revitalize itself as well.
Right. I don't know in terms of putting, as I mentioned, a hockey team in there or something like that. And the area was always safe. The Mercer County Sheriff's Department was always there. It was safe.
Yeah.
Do you think safety is an issue, or?
I think yes. Sometimes the reputation that there is some hesitancy, particularly at the War Memorial, to go to a concert there. But I think people still want to take a bet on Trenton and come in. We have some great restaurants in Chambersburg, Latin Fare. We have a great smokehouse downtown. You can get a great breakfast either at Sunrise Cafe or the Skillet. So people are still opening venues here.
Absolutely. You're watching Trenton Today on WBCB's Facebook page with the Mayor of Trenton, Mayor W. Reed Gusciora, and we'll be back with our final segment after these important messages.
WBCB is now on your FM dial at 107.3. Serving Bucks, Burlington, and Mercer counties since 1958, you can now listen to all of your BCB favorites crystal clear on 107.3 FM. A new age for WBCB on a new frequency, 107.3. The Salvation Army of Greater Trenton and Mercer County is looking for volunteers to help give back to the community. From advisory board members to volunteering with one of their many programs, like their mobile feeding programs. Volunteers are critical partners in helping the Salvation Army fulfill their promise of doing the most good. For more information on how you can help the Salvation Army of Greater Trenton, call their offices at 609-599-9373. That's 609-599-9373. Or visit their website at salvationarmynj.org or Facebook page at Salvation Army Trenton Citadel.
Opinions matter, and so does yours. Hi, I'm Joe Fabrizi, inviting you to join us every Monday at 1 p.m. for Opinions Matter, right here on 1490 AM WBCB. Opinions Matter is now live streamed at WBCB1490.com. We want to hear from you because your opinion does matter.
Hey, this is Jonesy. Kick off your Thursday and Friday evenings in style. Join me for an eclectic freeform mix of the hits and beyond. It's a happening, a musical journey. It's the Glenn Jones radio experience right here on 1490 WBCB and 107.3 FM, Thursday and Friday, 5 to 6 p.m., directly following the legendary Jerry Blavitt. Radio, the way it ought to be.
From City Hall here in Trenton, you're watching Trenton Today on WBCB's Facebook page. And, of course, you can go to WBCB1490.com, find out who we are, what we're all about, and you can find out the link there to watch this program once a month. Usually Chris Ermer is here. I'm Joe LeCompte filling in for Chris with Trenton Mayor W. Reed Gusciora. And I guess we can talk about, once again, what are the good things you're like right now about what's happening with the city?
Well, I think we're right now we're in the process of renovating our basketball courts and with really unique designs. One of our consultants, so to speak, is LaKeisha Sutton, who performed with the Harlem Globetrotters, but she actually designed new stadium images of the basketball courts. We've done 5 of them, and we're going to do 18 basketball courts altogether. We're trying to maintain our parks a lot better. A lot of it's subject to funding, but I think we're doing a fairly good job. We're also going to undertake a lot of paving projects over the summer and into the fall, and continue to do the lead service line replacements for the water department, make improvements in public safety with the street teams, and then get ready for school in the fall. We opened up a neighborhood health clinic on North Olden Avenue where we administer free vaccines and free COVID tests, particularly on Wednesdays. And we hope in the future to offer mental health services from our neighborhood health clinic. A lot of people are stressed out because of the pandemic and the loss of jobs, the loss of life, and the uncertainty of what's in our future. So mental health aspect is really important for us to pursue.
Absolutely. You hear a lot with kids and children, and I guess they hold it in. They hold it in, but it comes out in other ways where maybe they're afraid to go back to school, or some of them probably went through that. Now with this BA5 that's out there, I mean, where do you stand on that, Mayor? Do you think we could be back to masks and closings again, or do you think we're going to get past that?
We hope not, because I think, and me included, just don't like the restrictive nature of the mask and the necessary protocol of continuing washing and keeping your social distance from people you love and work with. So the good news is that the strains are more milder than originally. The treatment is much better. There's less hospitalization, but nonetheless, it's something that we have to guard against. And then, creeping behind us is monkeypox that seems to be contained in the cities or the polar ends of the nation, but nonetheless, that could creep down in here and have a whole new protocol that we have to follow. But we hope that we encourage people to wear masks. We understand if they want to, if they feel too restricted. We try not to impose on them, but nonetheless, I just hope that the mandates and the school closures and the building closures are a thing of the past.
Absolutely. When you think about that, you just think we made it through, and at a time we probably felt like we were all in the middle of literally in the middle of the eye of the hurricane. And then when we came out of it, we're getting hit with gas prices and the inflation. The inflation's just off the charts. Is there any outreach for folks in the city who are struggling, or is that all food pantry stuff like that? Does the city get involved in helping people with, meals?
We do, and we offer meals at our senior centers. We've increased our summer camp for kids. We do provide lunches and breakfasts for them. We try to give them care packages for the weekend. And then there's a lot of just activities for kids to do, our basketball camps. We wish there could be a lot more that we could do. But we try to reach out as much as we can and help people when they really need the assistance.
I know that in Pennsylvania they have extra money left over, and there's a suggestion by the governor in Pennsylvania, Governor Wolf, to give each citizen $2,000, which, when you think about it, it's not a lot of money.
No.
Is there any kind of situation like that in the Garden State where the state could help folks like that?
Yeah, Governor Murphy does have a rebate that he's expanding, but like I said, I don't know if we talked about it before, but under ARP, I put an initial proposal of giving each homeowner $500 back, and if you're a renter, you would get at least $250. Council soured on that, and unfortunately that proposal is dead for the moment. But I believe that we should use some of the ARP money because there are people hurting out there, and I just see it on my rounds, talking to citizens that they could use the relief.
Do most people in Trenton have gas or oil, or is it a combination of both to heat their homes?
It's a combination, but there's still, I had an oil tank in my house that was converted over to gas, and particularly the older houses, some of them still have the oil heat.
It's really expensive. I mean, the gas is really expensive, and it's great now. In my house, I turn my thermostat off. I turn it off, and you get the $20, $25 bill. But when the colder months come along, that's really a hardship, I would believe, for some folks in December, January, February. You're looking at $350, $400.
Yes.
Is there a lie heat program here?
Yes. Yeah, and that's administered by the county.
Okay. Do people call Trenton, the city of Trenton, to ask about that?
Yeah, and we try to refer them over as much as possible.
Right. Oil's crazy too. With I know someone who worked at the station last year paid like $970 to fill up his tank.
Wow.
I mean it's brutal. But with the $70 million, how far are you through that with the American Rescue Plan Act? Is that almost all gone or earmarked?
No, we're about 40% spent, and still much to go. A lot of it has been slow to get council approval of our spending plans. We're also offering incentives for nonprofits to take advantage of ARP. We've set aside some money for an application to fund projects that would be beneficial not only for the nonprofit but for citizens in general.
Absolutely. Yeah, well, we chewed a lot of the fat here today, from trying to put another hockey team in the arena to having the fact that there's going to be National Night Out. There's a lot of good things happening in Trenton, and what are your hopes for the future for the city of Trenton there?
Well, we could always use more state funding. If the state paid us dollar for dollar property taxes, they would give us $45 million. My first year, we only got $6 million in direct state aid, and now we're up to $22 million. We hope to see state workers return. A lot of them are still working at home. As long as the state remain downtown, they'll visit our stores and restaurants. But I see a lot more people working together cooperatively and trying to move the city forward. And we have a lot of work to do, but I see that a lot of people have faith in the city and really want to work together. And I think that's what's encouraging me to continue in this job, of all the possibility of the things we can do. One of the projects is the Route 29 turned into a boulevard so that we could recapture our waterfront. There's federal infrastructure dollars called Reconnecting Neighborhoods, and the Route 29 was bad urban planning in the 1960s. Let's put a state highway along waterfront.
Right.
And then cities like Baltimore have taken advantage of their waterfront, or Chattanooga, and we'd like to really expand our waterfront as well.
Right, that would bring a lot of business in, and it's just
Yeah.
it would just hotels and whatnot. Getting back to the property taxes, Mayor, what's the typical property tax bill for a homeowner in the city of Trenton right now?
Geez, it runs the gamut, probably $3,500 or more, but there are people paying $9,000 and into the teens in some of the older homes, and I hear that on a daily basis. But the city, if we can get more state aid, we'd be able to tackle that property tax and get a reduction.
Yeah, I mean, a real rebate that's going to help someone has to be at least over $1,000. I would think over
Absolutely.
$1,000.
Yeah.
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 Then someone can go, wow, I got to pay my bill this year. Absolutely. Yeah. Well, Mayor, we talked about a lot of stuff today.
Oh yeah,
and it was
a lot of ground.
It was a pleasure being here with you. It really was.
Well, thanks so much, Joe.
Okay, that just about wraps it up. Chris Irmer will return next month with the City of Trenton Mayor W. Reed Gusciora, and Mayor, good luck. Have a great rest of your summer.
Thanks so much. You as well, and try to take some time off and visit your sister down the shore.
I will. Thank you. Thank you for watching, everyone. This has been Trenton Today from Trenton City Hall.